eying the scent strip she forgot in his pocket. I bottle stories people can't tell out loud. That's what perfume is when you stop lying to yourself. A memory engineered to arrive on time. My lab is a white room with small rebellions. Rows of amber bottles, pipettes like glass feathers, a blotter stand that looks like a hedgehog sprouting paper quills. Top, heart, base. Citrus that jumps, florals that hold the middle, woods that stay to clean up the party. I build accords the way a carpenter builds stairs, so someone else can climb without tripping. Eva used to say she fell in love with the way I spoke about air. "You talk like rooms are loyal," she'd tease, leaning on my workbench, stealing a strip and waving it in the light. She runs partnerships for a luxury hotel group, gala dinners, sweet openings, journalists shepherded like bright birds. We fit because we both understood the choreography of first impressions. I made rooms smell like possibility. She made possibility look catered. The Thursday it started, I was chasing the odor of soil after rain. Everyone wants petrichor without the mud. I had geosmin at the edge of annoyance, violet leaf sulking, a drop of ISO E super making the whole thing breathe like someone you want to sit closer to. My assistant Leo stuck his head in and left a paper bag on the counter. "Housekeeping from the Ava," he said, "Eva's flagship property. They found your blazer from last week's tasting. And a gift, apparently." I opened the bag. My blazer, yes, still carrying the ghost of bergamot I'd been wearing like armor. Under it, a folded napkin tucked into the pocket the way a secret tucks itself, pretending to be shy. The napkin held a scent strip, one of mine, cut with the diagonal notch Eva prefers. On the slip in her quick blue ink, "Test on wrist, no socials, promise me." A doodle of a star only she draws, asterisk and kiss stacked together like impatience. The strip smelled alive. Not my rain study, something else. A top note of bitter orange and pink pepper sparking like a match. A heart of jasmine tea and something soft, almost skin. Under it, a base I knew too well, my own proprietary amber accord, the one I built out of labdanum, musk, a touch of smoke I'll never confess to. The strip had been pressed against someone long enough to taste skin chemistry, long enough to learn truth from pulse. My first impulse was professional, name the materials, sketch the curve, congratulate the hand. My second was a body thing, a sharpened quiet behind the sternum, a recalibration. I held the strip under the lab hood as if clarity were ethical, as if distance were clean. It was a good formula. It didn't belong to me. The handwriting did. "Looks like she stole one," Leo said, reading my face the way assistants learn to survive. "Or you made her a secret." "Or someone else did," I said, and surprised myself by hearing how calm I sounded. I slid the strip into an envelope and finished my rain. One drop of patchouli turned to the idea of dirt instead of the memory. Clients would call it elegant, then use words like addictive as if longing were a feature and not a problem. At home that night, Eva came in trailing cold air and a soft glamour the city gifts to women it has temporarily decided to be kind to. She kissed me, mouth warm, perfume a whisper I'd built for her months ago, fig leaf, iris, vetiver. The note that lives at the hollow of her throat, the one that can make my hands careless. We ate on the couch because chairs were a negotiation we didn't need. She described a press trip to Santorini as if she'd personally invented light. I described the way petrichor resents being smoked. We belonged to each other through language, even as something under it breathed a different air. When she leaned over to put her wine down, her robe slipped and I saw the birthmark at the edge of her hip, a comma I've been finishing in my head since the week we broke our first rule. I took her hand and placed it on my chest, the cheap romantic gesture I deploy when I can't say what else I'm thinking. Heat did what heat does. We went to the bedroom and were good at us. Not cinematic, human. Her knee hooked over my thigh like ownership. My mouth found the place below her ear that makes her have to close her eyes to finish a sentence. If there was any deceit in it, the body refused to confess. In the morning, I tucked the envelope with the strip under a stack of briefs and went to the AVA because rooms are better at telling the truth before noon. The concierge knows me, knows Eva, knows the difference between the two kinds of secrets a hotel owes. I pretended to check the lobby diffuser and pretended not to watch the elevator deposit the chairman of a brand I've designed for North and Weaver off a floor that isn't a public number. He wore a navy suit that made you want to learn ratios and a smile designed by expensive mirrors. On his lapel, a paper-thin badge, a stylized compass North and Weaver prints on everything when they want to reassure their own reflection. He stopped at the host's stand, signed something, and as he angled his body, the corner of a hotel napkin peeked out of his pocket. Not ours, not exactly. Our crest, their logo, a marriage performed by a printer proud of itself. I smelled the air the way dogs do when they wonder which door a friend just walked through. Bitter orange, pink pepper, my amber deciding who it likes best. I told myself stories. Eva was doing her job. Eva was arranging a brand to sponsor an art wing that wouldn't be built without a man in a navy suit believing his name liked marble. Eva was testing a strip on a wrist. I believed all of them and none of them and went upstairs to fix a lemon diffuser that did not need me. She texted at 2. Lunch ran long. Save me. I sent a photo of my bench with the rain still breathing and wrote, always. She replied with a star and the words you smell like weather when I miss you, and I almost threw the strip away because some sentences still earn faith. The thing about perfumers is we are bloodhounds with better shoes. That night at home when she undressed, a ghost of bitter orange rose from the sleeve of her blazer. Her wrist smelled like soap and mine, which is nothing like clean but passes. I thought she scrubbed. I thought she knew I'd test air. I thought, stop being forensic and be a person. Then she climbed into my lap, straddling me on the kitchen chair, and kissed me like the room owed us silence. I let my hands reacquaint themselves with her waist. If her mouth felt like a treaty signed by light, I signed it too, knowing treaties break. We talked the next day because you cannot build a house out of future drafts. I brought the strip and laid it on the table between us like a sleeping snake. Where did this one learn your handwriting? I asked, light, the least useful tone. She looked at it, then at me, then at her own wrist as if it could testify. It's good, she said. It's yours. Mostly, I said, because ownership in perfumery is a petty god. Your star is. She exhaled, a quiet weather change. It's for a pitch, she said. North and Weaver want a signature scent for their private dining rooms. The chairman asked for something intimate but civic. I laughed at the sentence and then made one. I should have told you. You should have not promised anything with my base, I said. And if it's a pitch, why was it on a wrist? Because printouts do not sign checks, she said, a flash of flint. Then, softer, because it's easier to say no to a concept than to your own skin. There are answers that are right enough to make you hate being appeased by them. Did you drink to it? I said. I drank to ending it, she said. To not becoming a woman whose biography includes a balcony and an expense code. He was at the lobby, I said. My nose is dumb but loyal. He wears navy. He wears inevitability, she said. It's boring. He is a donor in search of a story. I gave him a good one and forgot to stop when the comma should have been a period. How many times? I said, because arithmetic is a cruelty I was raised on. 3 texts that got deleted, she said. 1 dinner where my mouth remembered a version of me I don't want anymore. 0 hotel rooms. 1 strip I asked a man I love to pretend wasn't a letter to the wrong address. I am sorry. We were quiet so the room could enter a plea. I thought of the years we had put into being the kind of couple that knows where to stand at parties when they don't want to get photographed. I thought of the little star and the big man and the way my accord had liked his skin. That is the trouble with chemistry, how uninterested it is in ethics. I can't compete with money, I said, which was both pathetic and honest. You don't, she said. You compete with air and you always win. I should have stayed angry. Anger is a good sport if you like injury. Instead, I reached across the table and put 2 fingers under her chin and lifted. She let me. Heat moved between us without permission. We kept our mouths just close enough to breathe the same story. When I finally kissed her, it wasn't forgiveness. It was a declaration of jurisdiction. We made rules because we are civilized animals. She would not borrow my marks for other people's wrists. If she had to test anything in a room that sold privacy, I wanted a text before the air got a vote. I would not treat suspicion like an art form. I would smell and then stop. We both agreed that if a sentence required the phrase "don't post this," it would not enter our house. I built a version of the strip that wasn't mine anymore. I removed the amber she'd stolen and made a cleaner base, cedar weathered. I taught bitter orange to be generous instead of coy. I scrubbed the pepper until it felt like punctuation instead of a dare. I named it Salt River and put it in a white bottle with nothing on it but the date. Eva came to the lab on a Sunday and lifted the tester to her wrist like a prayer. "Less appetite," she said. "More appetite afterward." "Exactly," I said. We sold the brief to a different hotel that cares about community more than marble. North and Weaver tried to poach it. We let them buy a cheap copy from a house that thinks ISO E-Super is a personality. Their dining rooms smell like confidence in bad lighting. The city still goes. A month later, the chairman walked into my lab by appointment he had not earned, accompanied by a woman who was good at important and gracious at pretending. He sniffed and nodded and told me about his first love in Provence, the way men recruit geography to make themselves interesting. He reached for the shelf where my bass accord lives, and I didn't slap his hand because I am good at pretending as well. Eva arrived halfway through his speech, in a dress the color of good arguments. She stood beside me, her wrist bare. She didn't look at him the way she used to look at trouble. He picked up the Salt River blotter and tried to buy what isn't for sale. "This is it," he said. "This is the sound a room should make." "Rooms don't make sound," Eva said. "They make permission you don't get any." He blinked the way rich men blink when language refuses to be currency. He left with an assistant and a polite fury. I threaded my fingers through hers under the bench, and for a second we were the only people not pretending in the city. We still fail. Some afternoons she smells like a lobby that isn't ours, and I want to ask the napkin whose pocket it thinks it belongs to. Some evenings I come home wearing a strip that learned too much about a stranger and placed itself in my pocket like a rumor. When that happens, we stand at the sink and put our wrists under warm water, and we say the names of what we have on in the tone of friends diffusing a device. We never let the water run too long. We were raised by droughts we couldn't see then. There is still heat. I don't know what counts as element of erotica to a census, but I can tell you this. When she comes to the lab after hours and sits on the stool in that skirt that knows exactly how to impersonate gravity, when she lifts her wrist for my smelling like a dare that never hurts me, when my mouth replaces my nose on a patch of skin that learned me before I learned myself, it is civilized and hungry and ours. We stop when we want to, not when we should. That's the difference between an affair and a marriage. We decided to renew without a ring. Last week, housekeeping brought me another blazer in another paper bag, this time mine, from a talk I'd given about olfactory memory to a room full of people who believe scent can be captured without cost. In the pocket was a folded napkin. My napkin. On it, Eva had drawn a star and written, in pencil that smudged like a confession you rub and then decide to keep, wear this tonight. Under the napkin was a strip with Salt River on it, and the line she added, one drop of you. I wore it. At dinner across from her, the waiter brought a bottle with a cork that wanted to be a kiss. She leaned in and breathed me in, eyes closing for the brief, greedy second that belongs to us alone. Better, she said. Why? I asked. Because perfumers remain idiots around approval. Because you smell like you didn't have to be stolen to matter, she said. We walked home. The city made its millions of tiny decisions. Upstairs, in our too small kitchen, I pressed her against the cold counter and kissed her without needing to prove a moral. When we stopped, when the room returned to a temperature humans can survive, we laughed. She tucked a strip behind my ear like a child's secret. I slid a bottle cap under the strap of her dress like a note. We are ridiculous and specific. It works. People ask me for advice about perfume like it's a life problem with a label. What should my boyfriend wear? What smells expensive? What will make me a person someone else stays for? I want to tell them most scents are just bribery for the air. Wear what smells like a decision you would make again. Wear what your body likes before your story edits it. Wear the thing that doesn't apologize when the lights come up. The strip from the bag lives in my drawer, less accusation now than instruction. When I take it out, the bitter orange has almost gone. The amber that is not mine evaporated into a memory of how close I came to building a formula out of fear. The paper keeps the faintest trace of our house: coffee, laundry, her shampoo, the oil that lives in my fingerprints. It smells like a room we aired and then chose again. It smells like permission braver than a balcony. I still chase rain. I still teach Geosmin to behave. But now sometimes when the formula stalls, I step out onto our fire escape and let the city come to me. I think about top, heart, base. How good stories begin with spark, survive the middle, and finish low and warm like agreements you write on skin. I go back inside. I lift my pipette. I make something that will remember us even after we forget what we called it. And when Eva walks in and steals a strip and tucks it behind her knee and dares me to find it later, I do. And the room's air is loyal again. And for a few seconds after we stop laughing, the whole idea of forgiveness smells like something I could bottle if I were brave enough to label it.